Hello and welcome back to Norfolk Fords. We're back on the Beauford project and Dad has had quite a good couple of days on the engine. I'll let the photos and videos show a lot of what he's done in just a few seconds. Here we have a sensor for the air intake that was broken. That's the throttle position sensor. He's got a new one. Here we move on to the tone wheel. You can see in that photo the bottom pulley at the front there. He took it to his mate Mally's, and there you can see the pair of them spent the afternoon machining that on the lathe to take the tone wheel. Here he is, he's made a bracket completely from scratch, and that is the tone wheel position sensor. To put the sensor in the right place, Dad had to put the engine at top dead centre, cylinder number 1. He then had to work out where the tone wheel would need to sit to represent top dead centre, because on that wheel there is a extra large space which the sensor picks up on the difference and then tells the ECU that that is top dead centre. But to find that in the right position, he needed to put the sensor in place. But to put the sensor in place, he needed to know where he could put the sensor. And where he needed to put the sensor, he needed to know where he was going to put this extra gap, this extra large tooth. So he had a wonderful little circle where he didn't really know where to start, but I think he's done a really good job of working it out and getting there. And I think he's fairly chuffed with the bracket he made. Here you can see he's putting a multimeter in it, in the end of the sensor, to see if it's picking up on the pulsations of the tone wheel. And as he spins it, you can see the multimeter changing. Here we are in the workshop. We have our resident welder Eric helping out a big deal with this, and he did a lot of work for this, really. Here we have Eric and the other Mark. They made that look rather easy. Eric is now removing the original engine mounts for the 2.3 litre engine. Now that the old mounts have been removed, they now begin to swing in the new engine and gearbox. Dad said to me the biggest thing that helped them with putting the new engine in and taking the old engine out was they put the car on a ramp and just raised it up slightly. That meant that they could put the gearbox in first at such a steep angle that it just fit perfectly. They're now propping up the back of the gearbox so they can start working out the centre lines and working out where the mounts need to go for the engine. This was made a little bit more tricky because the shape of the Beauford chassis begins to narrow at the front. The height of the engine was also very important. They're now sorting out where the gearbox mounted to the chassis. They mounted the gearbox end first to do with the height. So by mounting the gearbox first, the gearbox is in better position for taking the drive shaft, for the gear stick coming through the floor of the car as well. And then the engine can be sorted out. Here we have the mounts welded in place. As you can see, the shape of the chassis means we've had to reshape the mounts a little bit. You can see a little bit better in that photo what I mean. They're not too bad at all. And just like that, we pulled the car back out of the workshop. Next, we move on to wiring and the ECU. Like and subscribe and stay tuned for that.